Hello everyone, I'm Steve Beverly, Professor of Broadcast Journalism at Union University and also a blogger at theoldtvnewscoach.com. And I ask you to forgive the yellowish lighting and also my t-shirt informality on this Memorial Day evening. But an event happened earlier today that certainly has so many of us who are in that fraternity of journalism shaken and certainly stunned. We learned earlier this evening that two young men, 36 years old, Mike McCormick, the weekend anchor at WYFF in Greenville, South Carolina, and Aaron Smeltzer, a videographer for the same station, who had just joined the staff earlier this year. Both of them were killed when they were out covering some of the severe and flooding weather that has occurred in the lower portion of North Carolina, particularly western North Carolina, in recent days. And as they were returning from an interview that they did with the fire chief of Tryon, North Carolina, a small town I'm very familiar with, they were returning, and all of a sudden a tree that was soft from all of the heavy rains fell on their SUV and killed both of them. I can tell you that in a television newsroom, that regardless of whether morale is high or low, and it runs both gamuts from time to time, that newsrooms, just like in any business, they're a family. And so many times that it's a case of, because of the fact that most people in America do not do what news people do, that there tends to be somewhat of a, if you will, an isolation with the rest of the world, not by intent, but just from the fact that a lot of other people don't really know the shop that you talk. And so there tends to be a very, very tightly niched fraternity and sorority inside television newsrooms. I had the fortune in 2002 and 2004 to work as a Radio, Television, Digital News Association faculty fellow at WYFF in Greenville, South Carolina, under the former news director, Andy Still, who was an old and dear friend of mine. And during that time, I had the opportunity to come to know and to develop friendships with some people in that newsroom that were very, very dear people. I enjoyed going in every day, and I felt like it was a very special place. I know that while the two gentlemen who were killed today were not there at that time, I know what is probably going through the hearts and minds of those who are in the WYFF newsroom tonight, particularly the anchors, Michael Cogdell and Carol Goldsmith, who they have the job to tell their communities, as they did earlier this evening. They have the job to tell their communities what happened to two of their own. If you think about some of those news people who worked with them every day, whose desks were right near those, who walked into editing rooms with them, you just have to know that it's going to take more than days. It may take weeks, some even longer, for the pain to somewhat subside and to go into a room and expect that those two guys were going to be there, and they're not. There is not much that you can say, because none of us will ever answer the question why this had to happen to those two, any more than we can about any tragedy. But I can tell you that when you lose someone within a newsroom, it is the equivalent in that circle as it is if you have a police officer, a firefighter, or a first responder that loses his or her life in the line of duty. And it's something that I think you can only appreciate unless you are a part of that industry and, as I say, that small circle. I want to say tonight that to those people that I know and those I don't know in WYFF, there are a lot of people, and I know there are people out there right now who want to minimize the term "our thoughts and prayers are with you," because we've had so many tragedies. But I also know an awful lot of people that when they say that, they mean it sincerely, and I am one who does, that our thoughts and prayers, and those of my students at Union University who you don't even know, they are with you tonight as you grieve, and you're going to need days ahead to grieve through this. And also, it reminds me of that great scripture And my father used many times when he preached funerals, and it was from Psalm 147:3, in which the Lord talks about calming and easing the pain of the brokenhearted. There are a lot of hearts that are breaking in that newsroom at WYFF this evening, and will be for the next few days. I just want you to know that you've got a lot of support from brothers and sisters all over the country. And whereas many of them have not experienced what you have, I can definitely tell you that they are sending you their thoughts and prayers. God bless all of you. God bless their families. And may you all know of the peace and comfort that comes at any time of a tragedy. I'm Steve Beverly. Thank you very much.